And I think it was a very powerful statement that you made about Huma, right? And while you're making those statements, I was kind of thinking about how do I now go and introduce Huma? Okay. It's going to be a difficult one, right? The only thought that I had is, I think everybody in this room knows you, Huma, as a leading Bollywood personality, as an actress. But today, we would want them to know you as an author, right? That's not a lot of. I think not a lot of people in the room would actually know that Huma is also an author, and she just launched her debut novel, Zeba, right, which is about a rebellious girl, right, with superpowers. So obviously for us, it'll be very important kind of to dwell into what was going on in your mind when you actually started thinking about it. But obviously, we just cannot ignore the fact that we have to start with Bollywood, right? And Huma, your journey in Bollywood started with Gangs of Wasseypur, right? And I think all of us would probably here have seen Gangs of Wasseypur. It still happens to be one of those iconic movies, right, that redefined the cinematic moments in Bollywood, right? And do you remember how you felt when you walked onto the set for the first time on Gangs of Wasseypur? I know it's a little, probably 20 years ago? 12 years ago? Okay. Here you go.
Good evening, everyone. Sabse pehle to thank you so much. It's so nice coming to Srinagar. This is my mother's hometown and hence my hometown as well. And I just have a special place in my heart for Kashmir and for Srinagar. First day, yeah, it was 2012. So when Gangs of Wasseypur released, so it's really been a while. But I think I was just very nervous and very excited. I mean, my cousins are here, my aunt is here today, in the room. And they remember, in fact, my cousins had come to meet me earlier as I was getting ready, and they were like, you remember when you used to come here and you used to make us do plays, and we had to all perform different things, and I would always be the director and I would give them different roles to do. And they were like, you figured it out. I was like, yeah, I think I did. So I think when I did Gangs of Wasseypur, I just went into that film with that same kind of naivety, enthusiasm, innocence. I was just acting. I just enjoyed doing that. I did not know or think that that film would become so iconic. I know Guardian came out with the 100 most influential films of all times in all languages, and Gangs of Wasseypur was on that list. अगर उस वक्त जब हम इसकी शूटिंग बनारस में 3 महीना रह के in those dingy lanes, if you had told me, I wouldn't have believed it. But that's the beauty about life. Sometimes the most beautiful things happen in the most unassuming of ways, and Gangs has been that journey. It has given me everything. It is, and I've never said this in public, but I almost said no to the film because एक तो Mr. Anurag Kashyap didn't let us read the script. So 2 people, Mr. Piyush Mishra and myself, we were asked not to read the script. Because when I read it, there was no rule. The script said, Faisal and Mohsina go to the market. Which market? What market? What do they do there? नहीं लिखा है. और मुझे अभी भी याद है, हम लोग शूटिंग कर रहे थे एक दिन, और उस दिन मेरी छुट्टी थी, तो मैं सर पे तेल वेल लगा के आराम से, I'm sleeping in my hotel room, and suddenly I get a call, and they're like, मैम आपको शूटिंग के लिए आना है. तो हम लोग क्या शूट कर रहे हैं पता नहीं. अच्छा बनारस, नवंबर का महीना, ठंड. We were not staying in very fancy hotels at that point in time because production couldn't support it. It was a little guest housey, Swati International, I think it was called. So I had to put the geyser on and wait for it, and I was like, damn, I'm going to get late. So, I mean, these are real, I know it sounds very unglamorous when I tell you all these stories, but I guess this session is about those unglamorous details. So I washed my hair in like ice cold water and run out without even drying it, and the location was an hour away and you get there. And Mr. Kashyap comes to Nawazuddin Siddiqui and I, and he gives us literally like a kuchela kagaz, and we both read it. ऐसे मतलब एक ही कागज था, शायद गाड़ी में लिखे होंगे डायलॉग्स, तो हम लोग दोनों ऐसे पढ़ रहे हैं, and that was that अपने अम्मा के साथ जाओगे वाला scene. So you know, and at that point, and literally we were there. I don't think we had permission to shoot it. It was very guerrilla style. We've gone to this marketplace, we shot this scene, and we're out in 20 minutes. So if you had told me then that I would be going to events and people will ask me to, you know, say those dialogues or say those lines, I'd be like, please, yeah, ऐसे थोड़ी होता है. You know, when you're shooting something legendary, you're supposed to feel legendary in the process. Not really, actually. Sometimes you just do something and something comes out of it.
Wow, that's a. No, I'm sure it would have taken you back into those memory lanes when you were looking at that.
हाँ, मुझे बनारस की वो ठंड याद आ गई.
मुझे लगता है ठंड से ज़्यादा वो गीज़र मुझे. I'm just trying to, you know, realize that Huma Qureshi waiting with a geyser to kind of heat up, right? That's interesting, right? And you know, your journey eventually kind of then moved on, right? I mean, OTT, Hollywood, right? Particularly Army of the Dead, right? How do you stay grounded, Huma? I mean,
have you met my mother?
Well, I haven't, but I'd love to.
Yeah, if you meet my mother, you'll know. I think we were raised in a very, very, very simple, very middle class, very proper upbringing. No late nights. Come back at a certain hour. You have to finish your studies. I think there are certain values that were instilled in us at a very young age, which I think both Saqib and I, my brother and I feel like my profession is a part of what I do. It's like anybody's job. I mean, I think of it like a 9 to 5, but when I'm all the perks, including air-conditioned rooms and you know, hot water 24/7. These are perks of the job, but it's not who I am. You know, I feel this is, I get to travel the world, I get to wear beautiful clothes, I get to work internationally or whatever. It's my job. So, and sometimes the perks of it are also there, but it doesn't define who I am as a person, because beyond all of this, beyond success, beyond failure, there is a part of me that's me, and that is never changing. You know, and I think that is, I think, who you are as a person.
Well, thank you very much, Huma. Thank you for acknowledging that, right? And the fact that, you know, today you're dressed as Kashmiri makes us all feel like we're really amazing. So I'm sure.
But I am a Kashmiri.
I know, and you know
that. At least half, huh?
Well, great. You know what? I want to switch a little bit from Bollywood, right, and want to come to the topic of the evening, Zeba. Right? So, you know, I read it somewhere that in Zeba you've described the book as Huma in a cave.
I didn't say that. I think some reviewers said that.
I'm sure a lot of reviewers would have said that. Correction, right? That's Huma in a cave. How did it all happen? Tell us a little bit about
it. Boredom. No, seriously, boredom. Yeah, absolute and total boredom. The book is a product of all the time I was getting bored sitting at home during COVID, when the whole world had shut down and we didn't know what to do. I didn't know when the next time I'll be on a film set, or you know, whether I'll be able to meet my friends again. You know, all those. I think it was a very dark, depressing time for all of us, where we didn't know what the future would hold. And I think as a creative person, I'm sure for everybody it's true, but as a creative person, it's really hard to sit still. Because we're so used to always working or thinking of ideas or doing something. And I had all this time in the world. And Zeba, actually, I had written as a 10-pager because I wanted to make this into a television series in the US. And I had actually pitched it to my agent then. They really liked it. But I mean, nothing really happened because then COVID happened, and then I'm like, now what do I do with this idea? So I'm like, acha, ya to script likha lo kisi se. Or I try to think if I can work with another comic book guy and maybe make it into like a comic book series. But then I was like, maybe I could write it. And I do this thing almost every morning at journal. I feel it's a great way of like just connecting with yourself. Like I recommend it very highly if anyone's asking. Great form of like just therapy and centering yourself, and I think somewhere from that free-flowing stream of consciousness writing, Zeba came out.
And again, I'm not sure if this is something you said or the reviewers have said, but I did hear that you also envision turning Zeba into either a series or maybe
Inshallah.
a movie, right?
From your mouth to God's ears, yeah.
Inshallah, inshallah. But is that something that you thought about? Right?
I would love to.
Envision?
I would love to. I would love to make this into a film. I would love to make it into a series, whatever I think the future holds. But I must tell you, that writing a book has got me some amazing family cred. Like everyone's like, oh, you wrote a book. Like, everyone gives you that little bit of an extra, like, I don't know, brownie points.
Look, you become more intellectual.
Yeah, right?
People recognize you as being more intellectual.
Yeah, like when I had announced to my family that I wanted to be an actor, they were very disappointed because they were like, but you're so intelligent. When marks bhi achhe aate hain, you should do something more academic with your life. And I said, what is this singing and dancing around the trees? And I said, no, but
But I gathered something, earlier when earlier in our conversation you said that, when you used to visit Kashmir during your childhood days, you would actually kind of, ask your family and you would become the director. So we're going to look at Huma being the director as well, or an actor doing Zeba. And if I'm just trying to think about it, right, if that happens, what would your cast look like? I really want to know that.
I don't know if I'll direct, but I definitely want to act in it.
Okay.
So no, I mean my brother and I, Saqib, we've started a production company called Salim Siblings. We do produce content, and in fact we've just done our first home production, which is going to come out soon. And we were just kids who enjoyed movies, loved how popular culture impacted us, and we just want to be part of it. And we've been really blessed that we've gotten the right opportunities, worked with some incredible people, and for two kids who went to Mumbai not knowing anyone. Today we are first generation producers as well. So that's actually quite special actually when you think about it. Like if you had told me 12 years back, I'd be sitting here and actually saying all of this, I'd be like, really? Like, so yeah, I think I'm very, very fortunate in that sense that I'm getting to live my dream.
Well, sitting here, especially as an author, right? We made sure that we let everybody in the audience, and the audience that we have over here, Huma, it's a mix of people. We have people from the civil society over here. We have businessmen, we have businesswomen, we have entrepreneurs, right? But you still dodged my question a little bit.
What did I dodge?
I just want to know what the cast would look like. I mean, who would Huma cast
You're basically looking for a headline.
Zeba?
Huma Qureshi wants Brad Pitt in her movie, like something like that.
Well, I'm sure you would. One thing that is
sorted out. I get very scared of putting this out there because, and coming back to something else. So the eve of when my book was launching, I called Himali. Himali is my book agent, my literary agent, and I had a panic attack. And I was like, I'm so stupid. It's like, what happened? She's like, I have to be the dumbest person alive. As an actress, I am so used to giving interviews and being misquoted. And then you have to keep clarifying, नहीं मैंने ऐसा नहीं बोला था, मेरा मतलब वो नहीं था. वो journalist है, we are so used to, because for headlines, people, use and misuse and misconstrue.
I clearly get it.
And here I am, willingly, with no gun to my head, have written a whole book with my thoughts onto a piece of paper for posterity. Yeah. Like, I have to be retarded.
But I think one thing is clear. We know that we can definitely visualize Huma Qureshi as Zeba itself, right? That's great. I mean, I would really encourage everybody to read the book, right? The book dwells into a life of an ordinary girl, right? A rich girl, right? Having access to everything that she can lay her hands on, right? And then kind of dwells on from there. You want to tell us a little bit about that? I know that we would love for people to kind of read through that book, and we've made sure that everybody in the audience gets your book, right? And hopefully, Huma, if I can ask you, if not too much, I know that people would love for you to autograph their book as well, right? We'd love for you to kind of, if you can stay back and sign a few of those books, right?
देखिए मैं आपको क्लैरिटी से बता दूं, जब मैं छोटी थी, so my father runs सलीम रेस्टोरेंट in Delhi, तो हम लोग कबाब बेचते थे. फिर मैं थोड़ी बड़ी हुई, तो हम फिल्म की टिकट बेचने लग गए. यहाँ मैं किताब बेचने आई हूँ.
That's a good one. I know that we have a lot of people in the audience, and I'm sure they have a lot of questions. I don't know how much more time we have, right? But I have a.
They won't throw us out, don't worry.
Huh?
I don't think they'll throw us out, just
Okay. So I have a lot more questions, but I also want to make sure that I make it a little bit more interactive, right? I'd love to kind of get the audience to kind of ask you whatever they feel they have in their mind, right? I mean, so maybe what we could do is, in order to make the session a bit more interactive, maybe we can go around and see if there are. How about we start with the family? How about we start with the family, right? The family, right over here in the front.
Right there,
And
there. You want to ask a question?
क्वेश्चन तो नहीं है बट एक सीक्रेट बोलूँगा हुमा जी और मैं कॉम्प्लान बड़ा चलाते थे बचपन में
कॉम्प्लान चुराते नहीं थे, तुम कॉम्प्लान चुराते थे.
Well, actually, I do have a question. She is very intellectual. अभी मैं भी जब उनके साथ बचपन में था, मतलब ये हमें एक्ट कराती थी और I never thought at that point कि ये मूवीज में आएंगी क्योंकि इंटेलेक्चुअल फ्रेम ऑफ माइंड से कि तुम शायद मतलब उस पे जाओगे, मतलब डायरेक्शन में जाओगे, राइट? मतलब इंटेलेक्चुअल डायरेक्शन में. But now she is here and she has written a book. And when I heard, when Auntie told me, and I was so happy. Huma Didi has brought some of her intellectuality, into this field, and I was so excited to read the book. My question is, why Zeba? Like, what's the origin story? Like, where did that idea come from?
You remember, हम लोग छोटे थे, एक फिल्म आई थी एंटोनियो बैंडेरास की, मास्क ऑफ ज़ोरो. वो ऐसे अपना used to make that Z sign. Remember? So since then I've been fascinated with the alphabet Z. And I don't know, it's a very stupid thing, but he's my cousin, so I can tell him. I just thought like whenever like I write a superhero or something, it should start with a Z. That's it. Also perhaps it's the last alphabet, so maybe the buck stops right there, kind of a thing. And I was always very fascinated with the idea. So I was always a naughty child. I mean, I was always forcing them to do all these skits and do whatever. I always felt like maybe a misfit while growing up. I think we all feel like misfits when we are growing up. We always feel like, we don't, who are we? We're trying to figure it out, I guess. And I always felt like writing stories of misfits who could possibly do something with their life. And so for me, this book is about like a misfit who is not accepted really, sort of changing the world. Or being a superhero. Does that make sense?
Fantastic. Thank you.
thank you very much.
Thank you for your question, Shahrukh. That's my cousin Shahrukh, guys.
I knew that there would be some really interesting things that come out from the family. I'm going to dwell more on it a little bit more. So, any other questions? Okay, we have a question right over there.
हाँ? इनको माइक नहीं देना, हाँ? इनको माइक नहीं देना है. बचपन के वॉशरूम की स्टोरीज कैन नॉट बी डिस्कस्ड हियर. Can someone give us the mic, please?
माशाल्लाह, इस तरह मैंने कहाँ पर रखा कि हमारी हुमा एक दिन इतने लोगों को खुश करेगी, मतलब इतनी अच्छी एक्ट्रेस, ऑथर. हाँ, तो उस वक्त ये थी छोटी सी बच्ची, पानी के साथ खेलना कर दूँ. So it's like that.
That's Zeba auntie, guys. So इनका कश्मीर में श्रीनगर हम जब भी मिलने आते थे, तो she has a very mashallah beautiful house, and I used to lock myself in her bathroom, and she had this beauty, such a gorgeous woman. She had a beautiful display of like cosmetics and perfumes, and I promise you, I have tried every single thing on that.
Well, Zeba auntie, I need to come and see that perfumes thing, right? Right, great.
Yeah, Huma, one question from my side also, because I'm basically a 60-year
Assalamu alaikum.